Get my six.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most awesomest homesteading channel on planet Earth. It typically doesn't have anything whatsoever to do with homesteading off the grid. Got a bunch of stories for you today. A bunch of emails came in overnight. Listen, yesterday there was a big question asked. A gentleman sent in pictures and a story about how this mysterious black mold seems to be covering up everything. Sidewalks, porches. I mentioned I have it on some of my trees here. And it's happened after this strange fog has come through, the odd snows, just all the really weird stuff that happened this winter after people started seeing these mysterious drones all over the world. And hey, guy that sent in that, he wanted to know if anybody else had seen it. Go through the comment section of that last video. People are seeing it everywhere. It's everywhere. So again, it begs the question, what in the world is going on? I took one such comment from that video that was left, and I think this sums it up. I have a tendency to beat around the bush, but Dave Simmonsbergen 2303 nails it. He says, Project 21 and World Economic Forum Project 30. Here's what is going on in the U.S. right now, even after Trump won. In 1992, through the United Nations, Nancy Pelosi set up the Agenda 21, designed to move all the people to the cities so we're easy to control, which is step one, to take over 75% of U.S. land. Think man-made wildfires, fires, floods, hurricanes, so much of the stuff we're seeing now, for conservation controlled by NGOs. And then step two is decreasing the population to fit into the 25% of the land or the cities that are left. So the little C was manufactured to start the population reduction, after which another man-made pathogen will purposefully be released in 2025, more than likely the Hachu. Yes, I'm speaking code. If you don't know what this stuff means, you need to go get caught up by watching some previous videos, because I know they're going to start censoring this stuff. Okay. Then he goes on to say the mold growing everywhere after this mystery fog or snow, what I was just talking about. They are spraying Hachu on the livestock and seeding the snow with parasites, and that equals HMPV on the people, all designed to remove the elderly, the sick, the weak, and the immunocompromised. Folks, I beat around the bush. This dude just said it like it is. Look, they're trying to get rid of the weak, the old, the sick. They're doing it with pathogens. The black mold that's showing up, it's like a byproduct of what's in this fog, the smog, the snow. Got another story in here about the snow. But listen, we're a hodgepodge here on this channel. Great news. True Hauntings Volume 9 has been fully edited, and this afternoon is being submitted to the publisher. So at some point this weekend, that's going to be available in print and Kindle on Amazon. And I state that so that you'll know, but also because we collect stories of all things weird here. They can be related to the paranormal, supernatural, cryptids like Bigfoot, time lapses, UFOs, UAPs, aliens, abductions, all of it. And if you have a story that you'd like to share, you can email it to the channel. The email address is crazylake@mail.com. We'll use your name with your permission, or if you want to be kept anonymous, let us know and we will. We've got a couple like that here today. Now, moving forward, this was another comment. I got this from the comment section from Heather Gibson 53. She wrote a story, and I'll paraphrase it here so I don't take an hour and a half for this video like I'm starting to creep up on closer to doing. And this is in the comment section of yesterday's video for all of you to go read if you want to see the full thing. But she writes about this very scary traffic accident she was involved in. She was in a car, and she went under like a semi-tractor trailer, and it dragged her down the road for half an hour. Then she was able to get out from underneath it, gear down, and come to a stop. But here's the odd thing. When she got to a stop, this man pulled up on the opposite side of the highway and came across trying to talk me into taking me to the hospital. But he had other motives at hand. She could sense this. All of a sudden, this woman showed up, got him away from me, and called the police. They showed up, and I turned around to thank her, and also hoping she had gotten the license plate of the truck driver. but she was gone, and so was her car. It was like she wasn't human. She literally took control and made sure I didn't get hurt, and then she was gone. I had forgotten about that until you told that story. I swear it was like an angel was there. That's because one of yesterday's stories was a gentleman named Bob, 74-year-old distance runner down in Georgia, was talking about a disappearing lady. So that's what reminded this lady of her story. And that's what's so important about these stories. Number one, you've got a place to come and share them without having to worry about ridicule. Nobody here is going to call you crazy. If they do, either you or one of my two moderators will ban them from commenting on the channel, because we want people to feel welcome here. It's not that we're snowflakes and we're easily offended, because we get it. We know what happens when you get offended. Nothing. Nada. Zip. Grow up and be an adult, right? We all get that here. So it's not that we're concerned about that, but we like having the welcome home to come to and share these odd stories. So if you have one, send it in. Got to stay hydrated. All right. Here is an email from Alan Davidson, and he sent a photo to back up his experience. Alan's in Tennessee. Alan emails, "Hello, Kevin. It's Alan Davidson from over here in Tazewell, Tennessee." Again, he sent in a story a couple months ago. "I have a story for you. I have several dogs, and for the last 2 weeks, they have been just raising Cain between 9 and 11 p.m. When I looked outside, I really didn't see anything, so I started watching closely when they started, and I found what was causing the ruckus. There are orbs or something in the mountains to the left of me. Every time I try to get outside to take some photos, they are gone by the time I get there. So last night, I saw them out of my bedroom window and actually got them. First, let me say, if you look to the left from where I snapped the photos, it's the Kentucky mountains, and to the right is the big White Rock Virginia mountains. Oh, so it's like in the tri-state area. The orbs or whatever it is were in the Kentucky mountains. I've sent photos. Thank you for what you're doing. You have my permission to use my name in my email." Okay, so, and then I had made a little note here to insert the photo, because yesterday I didn't do that, and I've got Sometimer's disease. Sometimes I remember and sometimes I don't. I forgot to insert the pictures until later in the video. So here's a picture that Alan sent of the strange orbs that not only he's been seeing, but his dogs have been seeing. Have a look. Wow. Isn't that something? All right. Now here's one that's anonymous. And folks, excuse me while I shed my coat. This is that time of year, spring and fall. You step outside and it's like, ooh, it's chilly. I better wear a jacket. And then 10 minutes later, it's like, oh my gosh, it's hot. I better lose my jacket. But whatever you do, don't put it in the house, because the minute you go put it in the house and come back outside, 10 minutes later, it's going to be cold again. You all know how that works, right? So there's a couple of stories in this one, and I'm keeping you anonymous as you requested, even though you did send me your name, but I do want to compliment you in your writing. There wasn't one edit required for this. Thank you for taking the time to do that. And listen, guys, if your writing skills aren't up to par, who cares? Not only am I a professional writer, I am also a professional editor, and it just takes me a few minutes. It just is always pleasant when I get one like this. So, Anonymous writes, "Hi, Kevin. I really appreciate your YouTube channel. You give those of us who experience weird things a voice, like I was saying earlier. Feel free to read the following on your channel if you'd like, but please keep my name anonymous. Last year in May of 2024, I experienced 3 unexplainable events that all occurred during the same week. The first one was that my daughter needed her black concert dress because she had a school performance the next day. She always wore the same dress, and it was always in her closet. She has concerts several times a year. Anyway, she told me she couldn't find it, so I went to her closet to pull it out because I knew it was there. It was not in there. She had looked about 10 times, and then I looked about 10 times. No dress. I looked in the dirty laundry bin, around the washer and dryer, etc. No dress. I looked in everyone's dressers and all the other closets in the house. No dress. I decided to look in her closet again, yet this time to try to find another dress for her to wear, since the other was MIA. I read through that and I thought, wow, that sounds like trying to find our son's game jersey on game day. We're all ready. We practiced hard all week, got the game strategy, and we can't find his jersey. She continues, Kevin, I opened the closet and the missing dress was right there in front, just like it always is. It was not there before. It gave us all the chills, and my daughter was afraid to even wear the dress. She did wear it, and luckily it didn't disappear while she was performing, because that would have been embarrassing. The second event, a couple of days later. I work in a school, and I was eating a snack in the faculty lounge all by myself. I had been alone in that room for about 20 minutes when I heard the beeping of the microwave go off, and the door opened by itself. Nobody was in the room. I was nowhere near the microwave, and when I got up to see if there was food in the microwave, it was empty. I closed the microwave door and tested it to see if it could accidentally open by itself. It could not open by itself. I got chills again. On that note, 30 seconds or less story. I remember I used to coach high school girls basketball. This was 15 years ago. And one evening after practice, everybody had left, the other coach, the team. I was sitting in the court, in the bleachers by the court, talking to a woman who had been a custodian there at that high school for over 20 years, knew her daughter. And I always ask people if they've ever had odd experiences, because that's who I am. This is my thing. I write about paranormal stuff. I have hunted the stuff, researched the stuff, traveled the world literally looking for oddities. And I've experienced them in the Middle East, Asia, Europe, North America, of course, where I'm stationed here in Central Virginia. This is where I live. I'm not stationed here. This is home. And so she says to me, she goes, one time something happened. And she told me her story. She said she was sitting exactly where we were on the bleachers. All the lights were off, but she could see from the safety lights by the doors enough to, things were visible enough for her to not trip and fall down. And she was sitting there eating a sandwich, taking a break, eating a sandwich, when all of a sudden a basketball that had been laying up against the wall behind the backboard, behind the hoop, started slowly rolling, and it rolled out to almost half court, and it stopped. And she was eating her sandwich, and no one was in this gymnasium with her. She would have seen them enter. She would have seen them because the ball started rolling from beneath those safety lights. So the ball, it stopped, and after about 2 or 3 seconds, it began rolling very slowly and rolled back exactly to where it went. So that would have been halfway across a basketball court. That would be roughly 40 feet. It rolled, stopped, rolled back. There's some strange stuff out there, guys, that you just can't explain. All right, continuing with our emailer, she's got the third incident. Third incident that same week. I left school early, and as I was getting close to the front door, I could see through the glass pane in the door that there was a school bus out front. I saw a girl get off the bus and head towards the door I was about to open. As I exited the door, I held it open for the girl who was just there a moment ago. She had disappeared. No girl anywhere. I looked all over, even walked around the building, and it was impossible for her to have disappeared from view so quickly. Again, chills. I have not experienced any time glitches since. Thank you again for everything you do, Anonymous. Thank you for those stories. And it's funny, here's another memory from about a week ago. I was at a house party, and there were a couple of yuppies there. Most of the folks were okay, but so this one yuppie girl shows up, and I'm seated, and she comes over to introduce herself to me. So I stand to shake her hand and introduce myself, and she goes, "Oh, no, you don't have to stand. It's okay." I said, "No, I don't mind." I said, "I kind of pride myself on having manners." And she goes, okay, and shakes my hand. I said, "Hey, if I saw you in public, I'd hold a door for you too." She goes, "Oh, you're so Southern. Those are such Southern things." Because there's a lot of Northern transplants here in the Charlottesville, Virginia area. And it's funny because the woman beside me had my back, and I just met her too. And she looks at this yuppie, and she says, "Oh, really? So having manners is just a Southern thing?" And she goes, "Oh, well, men just don't really hold doors for women in the North. It's a Southern thing." And I told her, I said, "It's not about holding doors for ladies. It's about holding doors for whoever's coming in behind me so I don't smack them in the face." I said, "If a guy was coming in the door behind me, I would hold the door out of courtesy and just having manners. That's more of a class thing than it is regional, isn't it?" And she's like, "Oh, you're so Southern." And then she just went and talked to someone else, and thank God for small favors. Come on, man. I've been all over the world. There are people that have manners, and there are people that don't. And then there are people who think of themselves quite highly. All right, moving on. I love this one. This is a short one, and this one has a picture in it as well. Let me get my snot rag, because I don't want to trigger some yuppies when I wipe my nose with my sleeve like a 3-year-old, brah. There. I tell you, man, them yuppies, they're interesting characters. They're like a subspecies almost. Certainly a subculture. I like how they're scared of everything and offended by everything. All right, moving forward. This is from Peter up in Canada. I talked in yesterday's video about coaching, youth sports, and about how the only requirement, the biggest requirement, is not knowledge of the game, knowledge of the sport, experience of having played it. It's just simply giving time to the young people who deserve it. It's time. Making the time. I've had people ask me, how do you find the time to coach full time? I was like, I don't find it. I make it. We don't find the time for any of the things that we do. We either make the time for them or we don't make the time for them. And it's all about priorities. I had a parent complaining to me a couple of seasons back because every one of our games on Saturday morning were at 8 a.m. for the whole season. She comes to me complaining, wants me to call the league and try to get them scheduled. And I said, that's not going to happen, because it wasn't going to happen. She's like, well, what are we to do? And I said, listen, you need to have a conversation with your son and explain to him how it's more important to you to sleep in on a Saturday morning than it is to go support him in his flag football games on Saturday morning. Never got a complaint out of her again. All right, moving on. Peter up in Canada sent me an email. He says, I just wanted to share. I never played baseball. I loved it. And I was asked by a young lady to coach their softball team. And these were girls ages 13 to 15 because they did not have a coach. They needed a coach. And Peter was willing to give his time to go do that. He'd never had experience playing baseball or coaching, and this was softball, and these were 13 to 15-year-old girls. He says, after 3 years, this is the result. Let me show you the result after 3 years. Bam! Isn't that beautiful? No experience, never played the game himself, but was willing to make the time to give to these young ladies so they could have a team, and within 3 years, they were champions. Isn't that amazing? That's a beautiful story. I love stories like that. All right, Brandy from Ohio sends us an email. Brandy writes, Dear Kevin, my name is Brandy. I give you permission to use my name and story on your channel and in your books. I'm an Air Force veteran and my husband is an Army veteran. I want to thank you for your service. Brandy, I want to thank you and your husband for your service. Please let your husband know I'm grateful to him as well as I am you. Okay? She continues. 2 things. The first just happened. It is 10:15 on Friday, March 7th, so she sent this last night. My son and I just took the dogs out and it is snowing. As soon as we stepped outside, we both could smell an awful odor like rotting meat. If you get my drift. I do get your drift because I have a nasal infection right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm not, hey, any yuppies watching, I'm sorry if that just made you taste the last meal. That just, come on, man, just grow a pair. All right, moving on. We looked all around the house and couldn't find any animal tracks, skunk, raccoon, possum, nothing. Between the smell and the dogs acting funny, we got back inside. Now my eyes and chest are burning as well as my son's. Is it the snow that smells like this? Has anyone else smelled this while it's snowing? I live in Ohio by Lake Erie. It's not a rural area, but there are some woods behind our house. Second, last time it snowed, my husband and I took the dogs out, and we could smell the burning wire smell. We stayed out long enough for the dogs to go potty, then we went straight back in. A week later, I was in the ER with bilateral pneumonia and my heart was in AFib. Wow. Kevin, all I could think of was my son and my mom. Like I said, I'm an Air Force vet and my husband is an Army vet. My husband has been sick also, but won't get checked out until he knows I'm okay. I'm sorry if this is a little long, but I had to tell someone. I really enjoy your channel and wish you and your family nothing but the best. Sincerely, Brandy from Ohio. Brandy, that wasn't too long. It was the perfect length. I hope you and your husband both get better. I can't help but notice that since you are both veterans, you are both on the targeted lists. Remember, they're going after the aged who are no longer a profit, but more of a burden or a liability because their medical expenses now are out costing what the pharmaceuticals always made on their regimen of a dozen different tablets they took for years to deal with health issues, rather than proper diet and proper exercise and proper sleep and all the things human beings were designed for, which is not the chemistry lab. And I'm not against modern medicine. I'm all for it. But dude, if I got to choose between taking a pill to keep my cholesterol down or staying away from fried foods, eating a lot of vegetables and fruits, and exercising 4 or 5 days a week, I'm going to go that route, dude. And the last time I told a doctor that, she said, yeah, but you'll have to do that forever. I said, well, won't I have to take that tablet forever too? And she's like, well, yeah. I'm like, so anyway, after yesterday's video, get this, folks, I lost 600 subscribers. Why? I have every reason to believe I know why. Because I talked about a book I'm writing, inspired by the painting I bought in Key West, called Key West Fried Chicken. A book where I only contribute to if I have been participating in my preferred form of medication, that being the Lord's lettuce. What? You don't know what that is? Okay, I'm not a smoker unless it's a left-handed cigarette. Still not picking up when I'm laying down? All right. I'm not a smoker, but I'm a midnight toker. But it doesn't necessarily have to be midnight. All right, so a lot of folks just don't approve of that part of my lifestyle, so they unsubscribed. So what I have to say is, good riddance. Don't let the gate hit you where the good Lord split you. And just for you, because I know you're still going to watch my videos, just not as a subscriber, just as a regular viewer now, I'm going to read another quote from that book, because it's inspired by the email I got from Peter from up in Canada, the guy that gave of himself to coach those young girls and led them to a championship. This is a quote. So I was imbibed when I wrote this. It's a true something that really happened, but I thought of it and remembered it while the smoke was rolling under the door. All right. A parent of a kid I coached once asked me if all the other coaches and I worry about is playing sports and winning. I asked her what she did for a living. She said she was a teacher. So I asked her, are all you and the other teachers you work with worry about education and academics? She said yes. And I said, yes, too. You do your job, and I'll do mine. There. And I want to point out what Peter, only once have I coached and gotten paid for it, and I'll never do it again. It's all volunteer. And why is that? Well, when you're on the payroll, you will get unlimited, as in uncountable, complaints. Parents will call the principal of the school, the athletic director, the superintendent of the county. Just why? Well, because they don't like you, or they're bitter, they're miserable, they hate their lives, and you're in their crosshairs. Now, what happens when you volunteer? You don't get any of that. And every now and then, a parent will thank you. Strangest thing. You might have to go a couple seasons before it happens, but every now and then you'll get a thank you. Now, push all that aside because it's about the kids. The kids are wonderful. And just this last season, I got a couple of thank yous. I'm not going to read them. They're from me, but this is sweet. This one kid wrote, okay, this one kid, this is his first year to play football. He says, I kept thinking I wouldn't like football, but you have made it so enjoyable that all that nervousness is gone. You are the best coach. That was just, he wrote some more than that. That was great. And then a family gave us a card. This one is so endearing. Their son had never played organized sports before, and he was in 8th grade. That's kind of late in the game, brah. He was on our basketball team this winter, and that basketball team went on to win our league championship. It was our first league championship. I've been coaching in this league for going on, it'll be 8 years this spring flag football season. Never won a championship, never made it to a finals, but we did it. And that was this kid's first experience, and they were grateful. And this kid was instrumental. He actually put points on the board during the playoff game that led us to the finals, and he didn't score in the finals, but he played some pretty awesome defense and kept the other team from scoring more than they did. And I'm happy to say this kid's parents requested he be on our flag football team this spring because that's how enjoyable the season was. So I'm telling you, any of you out there that have children that are of youth sports age that are involved, and you're just maybe dropping them off at practice 5 minutes late, showing up to pick them up 10 minutes late, and that's your only involvement, slow down, chillax, take a deep breath. Maybe some of you could benefit from taking a big inhale. Get involved. None of us get a second chance at this thing called life. It ain't no video game. Spend your time doing the things that matter. Thanks for being here. Send us your stories, crazylake@mail.com. And again, a lot of you keep getting on saying, oh my gosh, you're always out of your From the Graves of Babes and the Lunatic book, and every time you get more, they sell out quickly. I've ordered more. I'm going to start ordering more in bigger quantities. But I just got 20 copies of Isle of Capri in. Look, that's me. This book is based upon factual, paranormal, supernatural research I did in the Philippine Islands during the 6 years I lived there. A particular island in particular. This is worth a daggone good read. Warning, there's some adult situations. I think in one of the opening scenes, the main character is in a girly bar spending quality time with an employee, if you know what I'm saying. So be prepared for that kind of stuff. It's available on Etsy if you want an autographed copy sent to you from me. If not, you can get a print or Kindle copy on Amazon. All the links are in the description box below. Appreciate each and every one of you, even if you never buy any book I write, even if you are not a member of the channel. If you give me some of your time, because I understand how valuable it is just to watch my silly videos, I appreciate you. You're why my family and I are living the fantasy. God bless each and every single one of you. See you more next time. See ya.